Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We have a basic swamp casting Brainstorm thanks to Astrolabe. Astrolabe does give a lot of protection against Wasteland, which is something that this blue-red Delver build from Dan will likely not enjoy. And looks like he actually put cards on the bottom there with Brainstorm. I think he might have been thinking he was a Ponder. Or preordained. Doesn't matter because he's going to be shuffling. And grabs a basic island and passes. So Volcanic Island into Ponder for Dan. Matt, Brainstorm, Fetch. Both players selecting some cards. Young Pyromancer now for Dan. Off to a solid start. We'll see it does actually stick. And Matt is getting his third land down. Flooded Strand fetching for a tropical island. And now Euro gaining 3 life, drawing a card, and making a extra land drop, which is a Bayou. And looks like he was thinking about using it for something, but passes the turn. Now next turn, Euro will be able to escape. There's already 5 cards in the graveyard, it seems. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, maybe not. Maybe there's only 4. Doesn't take much to get another card in there. A fetch land would do nicely. Or Wasteland. Responding here with an Entomb. Totally tipping the hand that this is World Gorger Dragon. However, Daze stops that Entomb. And that may not have been the ideal time to fire that off. We'll see how this works. If he has an Animate in hand and another land, then that Daze would not have interacted with the combo. However, that Daze is out of the way. Yeah, I mean, he's got double green, double blue. He can cast Euro from the graveyard. Escaping, exiling 5 cards. That is actually the play here. So time to gain 3 life, draw a card, maybe make another land drop. And Euro is such a powerful card. Well, actually, Force of Will stuffs him back into the grave for now. And Dan's got actual board presence here. 5 damage. This young Pyromancer has grown its influence to include 3 elementals and just a couple of more turns of this. And Matt will be out of there. He's definitely got to deal with this in some regard. We've got an Abrupt Decay. That is not going to be contested or responded to. Just 3 more tokens left. A Brainstorm now. And 3 comes across. Ooh, Ice Fang Coatl. Even without Death Touch, doesn't really matter. It's just going to be always lethal when it is trading with a 1/1. And that is plenty of work there for the Ice Fang. It draws a card and hangs around later to end the World Gorger loop. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Dan could pull pretty far ahead here if this Dreadhorde is left unchecked. Matt leads out with a Brainstorm. I don't know how much removal he'll have outside of Oko. Oh, he is reaching for some duels here. Is that Drown in the Lock? I think that might be Drown in the Lock. I think a Force of Will from Dan, and now a Force of Will back. And this Dreadhorde has been taken down. Dan down to just 1 card in hand. He leads out with a Ponder. And 9 damage. I mean, 5 more turns like this does not feel great. I think Dan wants to turn this into a 2-turn scenario. Maybe get down a Delver. He brainstorms This would be a nice time to find a Delver and leave an instant on top. And still just one card in hand as he added mana to his board there. And Oko. Now there's still that Euro to consider. Interesting, I probably would have expected Euro to be cast there first. Oko now taking out this Astrolabe, leaving Matt without the ability to cast Euro from the graveyard. This Elk blocks one of the 1/1s, and that 5th land likely signaling that Dan has a Force of Will in hand. Not a good draw. A food is made. Yeah, you generally do not want your counter spells when you're behind so much as things that can get you back into the game. They're, of course, fine if you've got a ton of cards, but I mean, if you've got the choice of having one card in hand in this board state, Force of Will is not going to be it. Delver of Secrets. And Oko creating yet another food. And those food can just kind of counteract the Delver indefinitely. Oh, another Force of Will here. And that'll likely prompt a food to be used just to remain neutral with the life total. Prevent any type of potential burn closing the game out. Oko. Oh, wow. Well, that's difficult to do over the web. He actually just used Oko's ultimate to steal the Delver. And this is looking pretty bad for Dan now. You rarely see Oko's ultimate used, but it did eliminate the evasion. And yikes. Now a Dreadhorde Arcanist and another Drown on the lock. And this Force of Negation, Force of Will back. And this feels pretty bad for Dan. Depending on how much time is left in the round, it may be scooping time. I mean, it's not going to be that many more attack steps. But Worldgorder Dragon, despite this odd mid-range display that we're seeing here, can kill you much faster than Blue-Red Delver can. So Dan actually scooping it up there. Matt picking up game number 1. Yeah, tournament management is definitely an important skill in terms of learning how to win tournaments. Like, I know it sounds like a simple thing or almost kind of like a thing that doesn't even need to be said, but winning a game of Magic is not the same as winning a match of Magic, is not the same as winning tournaments. It's not really, they're all connected and they rely on similar skills, but you know, in order to actually win, it's not just about playing well, it's about learning actually the process of winning. And one of those things that's very subtle is managing the clock in tournaments. Now, over these webcam games, it's actually not as big a deal. We do have an allowance for, you know, things like right there, speak of the devil, looks like Matt's feed dropped out. So we do have a lot more leniency in terms of the round clock. It is not as strict as a typical tournament. But, you know, in situations where you are, I'm actually going to go ahead and skip over that. All right, looks like they've got their webcam set. Time management, very important skill for actually winning tournaments, especially long tournaments. I mean, that's the type of thing that can make the difference between a draw and a round which is potentially just as bad as a loss, depending on the structure of the tournament. Really do appreciate everyone that's been playing in these weekly events. It is great to be doing commentary with live matches again. We were getting down to the bottom of the vault. We've got a couple of Modern and Pioneer events, which I am not really chomping at the bit to do commentary on. I imagine there'll be quite a few cards that I'm actually not even familiar with, though who knows? I mean, I have been around a while. We've got a Ponder for Volcanic Island. I'm sorry, Volcanic Island into a Ponder, I should say. A Verdant Catacombs enables a basic swamp into Thoughtseize, showing Spell Pierce, Young Pyromancer, Surgical, and a pair of Volcanics. So 3 Volcanics at the ready for Dan. One of them enables a Delver, which was carefully left on top of the library with that Ponder. And now Astrolabe draws a card. Oh, it actually eats a Spell Pierce. And Matt grabs a Tropical Island. Into a Ponder. Now he's aware of the Surgical. So comboing off with World Gorger. Also now it needs to include days in the calculation, as that's what allows this Delver of Secrets to flip. And Drown on the Lock being fired at this Delver, 1 mana open. However, it's a flooded strand. No tricks to be had there. Ponder. And now a Young Pyromancer. The card is legit. Just got reprinted in the Chandra's Spellbook. I'm actually a fan of that spellbook. I think it'll be long-term an exciting card. An exciting set. Would not have minded if Lightning Bolt was in there or something a little bit more playable than some of the cards, but overall the foil Pyroblast that you might get is pretty exciting. Matt stacking up with Brainstorm and actually keeping one of those cards to draw off of Astrolabe, which is generally a bad sign when your opponent has the option of shuffling away cards and decides that they're actually just literally the best that they can do. Misty Rainforest getting ready to shuffle away after Dan's Brainstorm. Really is a format-defining card. I sincerely hope they never even consider banning that card. We've got entire other formats without it. If you want to play Modern, have at it. But Brainstorm really does define Legacy. Just an incredibly good card that also puts players to the test. And people have varying opinions about the best way to play it as well. Shifting Ceratops? Sure, that is a big boy. And he's going to put a stop to the beats on the ground and can pretty quickly turn this around. I mean, he will not win the race. So it looks like 19-10. So Shifting Ceratops putting a halt to things. And I'll tell you, if Dan has a Lightning Bolt or an Inclination, he can just turn his guy sideways. I don't know that Matt can block. And now Jace the Mind Sculptor. That gets Pyroblasted. Pyroblast, such a potent card. We've got a Ceratops blocking a 1/1. Just pushing through 1 damage. No bolts to be found after. It's a 5/4, right? I think it actually is a 5/4. A Oko gets Force of Willed, pitching a Daze, and Matt's actually going to brainstorm, try and find Force backup. And he finds it. Force pitching Ponder. And this Oko could really turn this game around. That Pyroblast took down a Jace, but Oko may prove to be the more dangerous Planeswalker. 1 damage coming through. Matt down to 7, but he's got access to food, which can replenish his life. Yet another food added. Wouldn't really know that this is World Gorger, except for that game 1 Entomb. 3 life being gained. Matt looking to get outside of any type of possible finishing salvo of lightning bolts and chain lightnings, though it is very likely a Price of Progress would do quite a lot of damage. We've got 8 damage coming across. A lightning bolt. And Daze paying the 1. Food is used to counteract the damage, and it looks like on Dan's turn he's got 5 damage able to come across. He's pondering. 10 all. 5 damage at the ready. He keeps with Ponder. And now brainstorms. Sends for 5. Ice Fang Coatl flashes in, draws a card, and takes down that Pyromancer. And I think that probably puts an end to Dan's plans here. As at this state, I think Oko's just going to be too... What is this? What is this card? I don't know why... It's not a Dreadhorde Arcanist, is it? That foiling's throwing me for a loop. Well, it's getting Abrupt Decay. It was 2 mana. It might have been a Dreadhorde Arcanist. But it is out of there as Abrupt Decay clears the way. And Shifting Ceratops turns sideways. Down to just 4. Ponder one more time. Dan's deck has given him tons of decisions to make. I always love playing on camera to be able to review these decisions and see if there was any other way that things could have been played more optimally. Dan really pondering this ponder, decides it's not going to be good enough. He needs an awful lot here. I don't even think a Pyroblast is enough. Pyroblast clearing out this Oko, I don't even think that'll do. Now there's an Elk on board and a food, so this will push through just 2 damage. However, the food gets sacrificed, so the end of this, Matthew actually ends up at 8. Feels like Price of Progress, one of the only cards that really would matter here. Abrupt Decay takes out one of those tokens. Though I'm not even sure. I mean, we've got a Watery Grave and a dual land. So yeah, it would only be 4 to 5 damage anyways from the Price of Progress. You'd be able to fetch in response as he just did to grab a basic forest. So Price of Progress only represents like 4 damage. Dan's got a block. And that is actually going to do it. I think the Ceratops can give itself trample. So Matt picking that one up in 2 without use of the graveyard. Dan had the surgical, but Matt was able to just move on forward with his mid-range plan with Worldgorger Dragon. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.